guys, how's it going? So today I'm planting up my very first hanging basket of the season. So I thought it'd be a really good time to talk about some hanging basket basics if you guys were wanting to plant your own as opposed to buying them. And I think the benefit of planting up your own is you get to choose what flowers go in them, and it's really fun to change it up every year and experiment every year. And also after you get done with your initial cost of buying your basket, all you have to pay for are the flowers that go in it every single year. So the first thing I want to talk about is the different types of hanging baskets you might run across. There's three main ones, I think. Most decorative and prettiest to me are the ones that are right here around me. These are metal framed with a cocoa fiber liner. Now these are more maintenance because the cocoa fiber does not retain as much moisture. I mean, water just kind of runs through it. So sometimes if you have a smaller basket, you might have to water it twice a day in the heat of the summer. The other types are like this one right here. This is a peat pot. Most often you'll find these at a garden center already potted up with flowers like this right here. I bought this at a garden center. And these pots aren't bad because they're natural, they're brown, and they just kind of fade into the background and let the flowers really shine even before the flowers really start covering the pot. And then the third option is plastic, which those are the best for retaining moisture. They're inexpensive, but they're not as pretty to look at. I mean, if you could find a black plastic one or a dark green one, I don't think it would be so bad. And after we get our plants in there and start watering and fertilizing them, about after a month, they start really covering that pot and you don't see it for the rest of the season anyway. Second thing is size of container. So I brought out a few examples. Like this one right here is an 18-inch diameter hanging basket. It has a very deep reservoir, so this one will retain a lot more moisture than this 14-inch basket that's a lot shorter. So when it gets really hot in the summer, I would have to water this one twice a day minimum to keep the plants happy, as opposed to this one, which I could probably get away with just once a day. This is the one I'm going to be planting up today though. This one is also a 14-inch. It doesn't have a giant reservoir in it. We normally like to set our stuff up on a drip system so that it just automatically waters them. If you can do that with your hanging baskets, that's the best way to go. That way you can leave and go camping or on vacation or whatever during the summer and not have to worry about your flowers. The reason I like this one so much though is that it's got so much vertical interest going on for it because it's very pretty down here, but our flowers are going to cover it here in no time, and you won't be able to see the bottom, but you'll still be able to see like this crown looking top, and I love that. Number 3 is soil. You just want to use a regular potting mix, not garden soil, and you want to start completely fresh every year. So completely clean out your container and put new stuff in. Also, when you're putting your soil in, I like to add in a slow release fertilizer, which I'm going to be doing that today. And that will continually slowly feed your plants as the season goes. And you can reapply this like every 6 to 8 weeks. And I do this in addition to my weekly water soluble fertilizer that I use on all my annuals. So I'm just going to grab these containers and move them down out of my way so I have a little bit more space to work. And then I'm going to grab my potting soil, which I've got right here, and I'm going to go ahead and get my container all filled up. So I've left about an inch lip here so that I have enough room to water this to where it's not going to make a mess everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and add 3 tablespoons about of this slow release fertilizer into the soil, and I'm just going to mix it in thoroughly. I'm going to put my gloves on though. And this fertilizer is activated by heat, not water. So no matter how much we water it before it really heats up outside, it's not going to reduce the effectiveness. Is that the right word? It'll still work. Once it starts to heat up, that's when it'll start really feeding the plants. So now I want to talk about how many plants to use in your hanging basket, and it depends on what size you choose. So the rule of thumb is for a 12 to 14-inch hanging basket, you use 3 to 5 plants, and it'll depend on what varieties you choose because some varieties will get huge and some stay smaller. And then for a 16 to 18-inch basket, you use 5 to 7 plants. So today I'm planting up 3 Supertunias in this 14-inch basket. So I'm just going to go ahead and get these all planted in here. I think that these are going to be super pretty together. I have experience with this one is Supertunia Bordeaux. This one's beautiful. It's one of my favorites because purple is one of my favorites out in the garden, and it performs really, really well. And then we've got Supertunia Royal Velvet, which is that really clear, just perfect purple. Oh, and I should mention, I am not really teasing the roots because they do not need it. They're not pot bound. And the third one I'm putting in is the Supertunia Picasso in purple. I think that this one's really pretty and it'll bring a bright pop to this arrangement. But I do not have personal experience growing this particular variety, so it'll be a fun experiment to see how all of these do together. Isn't that pretty already, just seeing that color? I'm going to make sure to tamp the soil down and get these really tightly in place. So planting's done. I think it's really pretty. I'm so excited to be planting again these type of flowers. You know, as far as what to plant in hanging baskets, it can be a little overwhelming because there's usually a lot to choose from, especially if you're a beginner and haven't done this very much. So we're going to do this in a 3-part series, I think now. I was going to talk about different types of plants that are compatible, but I think it's a really big subject. And we'll just do that in one video, talking about what works well together in sun, part shade, shade. And then go through some of the most popular options. That way you don't have to wade through a 15-20 minute video to find that information. And then the 3rd part of the series will be about care and maintenance and what to expect through the season and how to have the most success with your basket. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful to you guys, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.